I'd like to call this meeting in order. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Susie, roll call, please.
Mr. Amaral?
Here.
Mr. Bendigo?
I am here.
Mrs. Kleffel?
Here?
Mrs. Lash?
Here.
Mr. Mole?
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Mr. Rossi? Mrs. Steinke? Mr. Wieant?
Here.
1.3, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion for the meeting of June 23rd, 2025.
So move, Lash.
Second,
Second, Kleffel.
discussion. Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. 1.4, announcements of executive session. The board met an executive session on Monday, July 21st, following the committee meetings for personnel and legal matters, and the board's tentatively scheduled to meet an executive session tonight as well for personnel and legal matters. 1.5, recognition of students and staff.
We'll be waiting until the August meeting.
Okay. 1.6, presentations.
Yes, we'll be finishing the presentation for the 24-25 school year highlights and updates. I think you're up first. I think it's HR. I think we start with HR. Can you advance to the next slide, and then we'll know who's first? Oh, there it is, Human Resources.
So I have a couple of highlights that I want to share with the board tonight, starting off with a little data regarding the applications from July 1st of 2024 through June 30th of 2025. These are individual new applications received by the district. So these weren't repeat applicants for previous positions. These were original applications to all positions here at the district. So this includes substituting positions, our mentor positions, as well as any of the other open positions here at the district. So through that period, a total of 765 applications were received. On average, about 15 or so applications per week. And on looking at all of our different recruitment efforts, we have our top 3 listed there as far as how employees are reporting to us how they learned about the position for which they applied. So our website is by far the highest, followed by one of our other outside recruiting efforts, PA REAP, which is one of the state employment websites, and then word of mouth, district employees. One of the other big initiatives that we completed last summer was actually transitioning human resources into what we have now dubbed the HR suite. This moved HR into what was previously technology, the special education offices into the high school. We did this move for a couple different reasons. We are housing all of the paper employee files in this location as well, and there's a separate secure storage area already built into this particular office area. It really made a very nice experience for our interview process as well. We previously were interviewing in the large group meeting room or sometimes other meeting rooms within the high school because we just didn't have the space to do it. So this provides a nice professional experience for those interviews, and it allows 2 separate spaces for interviews. My secretary, Michelle, will conduct coaching, support interviews in her area outside of my office, and then I will conduct the professional interviews in the other office area. So realistically, we can simultaneously run 2 different interview processes at the same time. This then, by default, freed up some space over in district admin for some transition of personnel in that office area as well. Here is Michelle. So Michelle is standing in front of one of the other ads that we have. We have a backdrop there where we are now able to take employee badge pictures, and HR took over the initial steps of that badge creation process, which allows us to ensure that only employees that have been cleared by human resources to start are going to be issued that badge. Anyone carrying that badge, it assures anyone looking at that those individuals have passed the clearance process and the other requirements for human resources and payroll. Not my best images, but I wanted to at least share them with you. This was our 3rd edition this year of the Employee Retirement and Service Award Dinner. And this year, so far, this was our highest employee participation in this event. And we continue to get great feedback every year. And employees and other attendees always let us know how much they appreciated being honored in this special way. Over the course of this year, we drafted 102 extracurricular and advising job descriptions. I have the breakdown there between the buildings. So that was a very large, laborious process to get underway to be able to now provide advisors and extracurricular staff with a job description. Board recently approved for Human Resources the DocuSign project. Again, this is a big undertaking to get this set up and underway. We are starting to use this now for the contracts for extracurricular and advisors. We are transitioning away from that paper process where we had to mail things, wait for it to come back. Sometimes it didn't come back. Sometimes it wasn't in the same format. Now we can track, monitor, and remind all through one system here at the district. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay. Mike.
You after. Anytime.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to cover technology department. We had 3 main goals: improve our software process, improve ticketing tool usage, improve network, data center, cybersecurity, and VoIP at Schuylkill Valley School District, accomplishing this through timely renewals, administration through ClassLink, data gathering, analytics, proactive management through a mobile device management solution, increased usage of IIQ, our ticketing system, hardware inventory, and customer service. So one of the processes we establish and maintain is an automated account creation process. Anytime a student is enrolled in Sapphire, it creates their record. ClassLink OneSync pulls that information nightly. Via rules, it modifies some information to help create their account. That then gets passed back to Active Directory, Azure, Google, and back to Sapphire. Once that's done, we also do some more modification to the information, like graduation year converts to what grade level they're in. So we standardize that information via one roster standards. At that point in the process, all new students have an account that they can use with our cloud applications. So another screen here, sample of a quick health overview of our staff and student collections. Collections being the groupings of account types which we're interested in maintaining with consistency across all systems that we're on. Another sample screen, here's a quick overview of a component of ClassLink. We see the screen quite often when we're working in ClassLink. If there's a lot of changes in a certain bucket of information or a tile, it'll place a warning flag for us. Those flags will come up if there's a delta change, and that threshold, if there's too much change, that threshold will exceed and then flag that information for us. The most common instance of this would be like a class title change or something like that, impacting hundreds of class enrollments. Another section in ClassLink dedicated to analytics. With a broad stroke, we can see a number of users that logged into an app on their launchpad to launch an app. At a high level, we see over 1,400 unique users in a month, and that Monday was the peak day of the month of May. We can drill into these data points to see how much an individual app is used, and this is great data to compare the cost of a resource for how much usage we may actually be getting for specific application or resource. Along with ClassLink, we receive additional information from our content filter. I want to highlight a screen here. If this will work right there, where that Microsoft icon is, that's actually Schoology. Right below it, we also have Google, and below that, Google Docs. So that's indicative that our Schoology learning management system is really being heavily utilized. Here's just a snapshot of one application in our Intune management system. All staff and student Windows-based devices, iPads, district-issued cell phones, they're all registered to Intune. So we're able to push a multitude of applications, policies, and get reporting back on those devices. Here's a screenshot of Incident IQ since July 1st, 2024. District-wide, we worked on a push to change from emails to enter a ticket. You can see that drop in the graph. That's when a lot of the noise and duplicate tickets started dropping off, and we really started getting valid tickets coming through the system. This report, it's a quick report of tickets. Since dropping our email in November, we've shown improved tickets, no duplicates, enough detail, and we alleviate some of the load on our team to move to more purposeful requests for assistance. The line graph is indicative of ideal response time and closure rates off to the right. We also see, based on some trials of service level agreements, that's that green and red semicircle there, we wanted to test ourselves and just see how quickly we were responding to tickets, acknowledging them, and closing them. Also in Incident IQ, we have asset tracking. After the initial lift to make sure as much equipment could communicate over the internet was registered with Microsoft Intune or Google Admin Console, reviewing the data to clean up a lot of stale data, we've been able to pull this data into Incident IQ. IEQ also monitors any device changes nightly. The great part about this is that we continue to build up our usage and configuration of asset tracking in IEQ. Once a model is confirmed, dozens if not hundreds of units will pull into this tool at the same time. Also continuing on this screen, software is another resource that we can track in our ticketing system. That also drives drop-down fields that are selectable by users for ticket creation. And then off to the bottom right there, there's a little spare tool window, or a spare pool window, where any unassigned equipment in the district can be put into a spare pool. So that's something we're exploring, so that equipment is always being tracked coming in and going out. Projectors, just wanted to give you guys a quick update on our projectors with some images here. So during the projector project, our installer kept in close contact with us while they worked second shift. That included nights and weekends. While the rooms were walked multiple times, and in speaking with teachers and administrators, we did have challenges we had to address. From clocks and cork strips where we would ideally want a projector, to differing surfaces to mount to, our installation of projectors went pretty smooth for 141 projectors. From this project, in addition to leveraging the whiteboard film in the elementary school where possible, about 53 whiteboards were installed at the elementary school to fill in areas of walls that were without proper surfaces, and about 25 at the middle school. On a separate note, appreciating our elementary teachers' feedback, some of the rooms for our youngest learners, the whiteboard and projector were on the wall about a cinder block too high. We quickly remedied this with our installer and got that dropped down so that they could reach and use the same technology and resource as the rest of the district. This is just a quick picture. The top left is the projector installed and not powered on, and the bottom right is a projector that's powered on with just a quick splash page of our front building. We also worked on bringing online the Schuylkill Valley Education Center with Dr. Winters. We evaluate options to bring internet to the building, unable to use the existing county internet connection. We designed, deployed an enterprise-level firewall with a wireless controller built in, a 24-port switch, 5 Wi-Fi 6 capable wireless access points, 2 multifunction printers, and 4 voice-over IP phones. The technology department actually ran about 500 feet of cabling through the ceilings and down the walls, different levels in that building. 30 Chromebooks and 4 staff laptops were also deployed. Chromebooks are all being managed as a separate OU within our environment, and all equipment is monitored remotely and by our network administrators. We also worked on the Huddle baseball and softball live stream. Some of the challenges we had with getting that to fruition was power and network connectivity at the fields, distance being the biggest factor. Wirelessly, we sent the signal around the building counterclockwise, relaying the signal using line of sight from the baseball field up to the softball field. We also utilize a 300-watt battery bank, which is sized for about 15 hours of continuous usage on a single charge, using PoE switches, cameras, and bridges. Some pictures from the install, and once we started seeing the actual image come online over the internet. Top left going clockwise, the first day we were out there was probably one of the coldest days of spring to be out there doing this. Coiled up our cable after we confirmed the length was appropriate, and then we were done for the day and came back to work on that. The middle top picture shows the camera installed on the inside of the backstop with the conduit run and ready to be secured. The top right shows one of the 2 radios used for our wireless connection. The bottom right, prior to securing our conduit, runs along the backstop, and the bottom left as we're doing some camera adjustments. And then the last item I have for everybody here, cybersecurity. We engaged with the BCIU on this year, so I appreciate the board approving that for us. BCIU offered and we participated in the cybersecurity consortium, which allows up to 2 pen tests per year. This is great for us to see how we stack up to common threats and tactics against our environment. Any deficiencies will be available for us to review and address, as well as the full team being eligible to participate in hybrid learning, included consisting of Canvas self-paced courses and in-person sessions aligned to CompTIA Security Plus certification training. On this slide, I just wanted to highlight for you guys, in the past 30 days, or the 30-day snapshot I have here, there were 3,127 emails reported. About 1,000 of those emails were simulated, 2,000 were not simulated. Overall, there was 102,000 emails received and over 21,000 blocked by our filter. Do you want me to?
We all don't want to get the phishing emails, Mike, and then realizing did you make it or not make it, or so it's always the warning of people who send something that if it's not if it's poorly written or whatever, you know, you tend to ignore it. Or if I get one more DocuSign, hey, you need to do a DocuSign out there. If I'm supposed to sign it, I can tell you I'm not, because I don't trust it or don't believe it. So, but thank you for that. And the pen is penetration testing.
Correct.
I'm just saying for some people who may not know that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I shortened that, but yes, pen testing is short for penetration testing, so trying to breach or, you know, attack our external surface.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. It's very nice to see all the evidence of what the board has approved and to see how it's working behind the scenes. All right, the next one is we're going to come back to that. There we go. And we're going to, Mrs. Manser, our digital media specialist, couldn't be here tonight, but going to talk through some of the things that she and her department has accomplished. One was the social media. She has continued to maintain an active, positive presence on social media for the district. Facebook, 4,200 plus. Instagram, about 1,450 in followers. And then on X, 244. Mrs. Manser has continued to work with the team to increase to increase our brand internally and externally, online, in the things that we do for print. She's created templates, she's created event materials, and you're starting to see all of this come together in all of the different things that we use and send out to parents, or the signage that we're putting up. Appreciate all her efforts on that. People are starting to see our logo and associate it with our school district, even when our name isn't necessarily at the top. Big project this year for communications was a website. Mrs. Manser spent about 8 months preparing for the launch of the website, and I know she continued to say, I have to turn it over on one day, and was trying to get everybody to stop posting for a day until she made that changeover. But I think it's been a great effort that she put forth. It's a very clean look, and people are using the information on the website. For communication, the final site Connect is, I think, next on her project, but basically our mass email system, she went through to try to provide support, troubleshoot user issues, created templates within it, and has been assisting with crisis communications to try to get things out as quickly as possible. We've been working on monthly highlight presentations and also sending out a board briefing after each voting meeting. She put together the SRP guide, and those were available now for all administrators to have and the secretaries. And she has been at community events, visiting buildings, classrooms, and events. And she is one of the main architects of the Winter Festival. So she helps put all of that together and brings the community together in the winter. So we appreciate all her efforts on that as well. Mrs. Rex Rode, who is our Director of Curriculum Learning, is not here tonight because she is actually with our FFA team, and they are receiving an award tonight for the Student Environmental Organization of the Year Award. And so she is at the event with them and couldn't be here. But this year in the curriculum department, language arts, new curriculum for grades 11 and 12, and the successful implementation of curriculum K to 10 in year 1 was completed this year. In math, the math K to 12 curriculum committee met each, I want to say, probably 7 to 10 times this year. They completed the frameworks for K to 12. They chose curricular resources, and we will be offering Algebra 1 to students in 7th grade now. And this will take care of the concern that we were experiencing at the high school with students having to double up on a math. In science, the curriculum documents complete for K to 12. They are aligned to the STEELS standards, which go into effect this coming school year. The curricular resources have been chosen for implementation, and all 9th grade students will participate in biology. Another great opportunity for students and a great shift. This is our favorite slide of Jenny's. Jenny has to do PIMS, and so when she put this slide up for us in our meeting, we all just laughed because that is how Jenny looks when she's taking care of PIMS reporting. And I was at an advocacy meeting in Harrisburg today for a portion of time, and we were talking about the many mandates that come and how this one mandate of PIMS has cost every school district at least one person in head count. Jenny has this in addition to her other responsibilities, but we're all generating reports, and it tracks almost every single thing we do in schools gets tracked through PIMS. She has completed the new PIMS administrator course and is doing a great job in the submission of reports. Standardized testing this year. We successfully implemented online testing for PSSA and Keystones in grades 3, 5, 8, and Algebra 1. Grade 8 and high school students for Algebra 1. And we did that this year. Next year, it's mandatory that everybody take the assessments online. So we took this year as a way to take about half the students and see what our bandwidth would be and what we would need for assistance in technology and for students, and how that would, how we would do in the first year of implementation. It went very well. With Keystone Algebra as a semester course, We did that this year. Those who did not score proficient on the Keystone in grades 8, all those students enrolled in the course improved their scores on PSSA testing. Students in animal science and plant and soil science took the NOCTI exam here on site for the first time. Another great opportunity for our students. University partnerships. We were working with Kutztown University to start a coaching program, instructional coaching program focused on technology at the high school, and that kicked off in July. We had 4 graduates in the early college program at Kutztown University, which you'll hear a little bit about from the high school. We had 9 students accepted into that program for this coming year in the fall, and we did enter into a dual enrollment partnership for agricultural science with SUNY Cobleskill. At a district level, we completed our comprehensive planning process. We had the development of a comprehensive plan that included meetings with over 20 different stakeholders. Representation from each employee group was there, provided amazing input, gives clear goals for the upcoming 3 years, which we've done a presentation on, and it also included the revision of our induction plan, which is now a 2-year plan in the state of Pennsylvania. We started the field house project, secured an architect, held planning meetings with the Building and Grounds Committee, held meetings to review the concept design. Those meetings continue, I will say. We did a public presentation in April. The construction project management firm received board approval in May, and we are concept phase completed at this point, I believe, and we will be having a bond presentation. We were probably in August. We had an initial one, but we'll now have a bond resolution coming up. Staffing, we maintained our staffing levels at the elementary school to make sure that our class size remained low and appropriate. We increased middle school staffing to reduce class sizes. That was probably the last building where we had larger class sizes, and I'm pleased to report I feel like we've done a good job over the last couple of years of increasing the staffing at the middle school. We've maintained our high school staffing to make sure that we also have appropriate class sizes at the high school. Our food service staffing is full. It is fully staffed, and that has been really exciting. I think Mrs. Louisa is a great part of that. She's amassed a great team and does a great job as our director, but thank you to the board and to everybody who's been a part of that. We have filled all of our custodial positions. We are fully staffed in custodians. We filled the director of curriculum position with Mrs. Rexroden, which was vacant. We posted the vacant assistant superintendent position, which will be discussed tonight, and we filled the business office staffing per the audit recommendations. We completed our Act 93 plans for the certified and non-certified this year. We went through with the Policy and Personnel Committee. We met with both groups. We worked on the compensation plans and scheduled meetings, and those plans were approved in June. Of course, you've heard about the Teacher Leadership Academy, the school-university partnership. This resulted in the Teacher Leadership Academy, which brought national recognition to the work that the elementary school teachers were doing and their work as they went out and presented at NASEP. 17 teachers graduated. You'll hear about that tonight. We have Cohort 2 planning, which was completed, and that will begin in the next school year, Cohort 2, and Cohort 3, the high school, has kicked off in July. This all came out of the report that we had done, which said we really need a place for teachers to be able to engage in a leadership path that doesn't necessarily lead to administration. Not every teacher wants to be an administrator, but there should be opportunities for leadership in the building. The Early College Academy at the high school, you'll hear about that tonight. We encouraged and promoted that Early College Academy, combined that with the Special Education Pipeline Grant, which was recognized across the state. Our students that were in that were videotaped. Dr. Clancy from the Bureau of Special Education came and was at our elementary school, used it at the statewide conference, used it at the PASPA conference, the video that they took, and she has continued to talk about the great work that's happening in the Early College Academy. It was recognized at PACT, at NASEP, at PSBA, and in the PSBA Journal. So congratulations to all of the people who have been involved in that Early College Academy. Professional learning, we've had a series on artificial intelligence this year. We had Title IX training for administrators, performance management training for our managers, trauma-informed training for the entire staff, SRP training, standard response protocol training for staff, participated in the Superintendent Study Council, have been working and been blessed to be a mentor for a new superintendent. We had Max Schachtner here for all of our employees. We shut the district down and had our employees, our local trusted partners come and join us for that event at the end of the school year. Our assistant principals went for Alvea's anti-bullying training, Train the Trainer program, and it's been a great year for professional learning. Of course, in building and grounds, we've been pretty busy as well. We finished up the pool project this year. The high school auditorium stage was refinished. That has been taken care of. The high school kiln, if you remember, we were talking about that for quite some time. That installation is now, that was completed and that's being used this year, an upgrade to the kiln. Middle school, the tree removal, that was taken care of in the summer. Buildings were pressure washed. We completed our generator projects, implemented the landscaping program. We finished our cooling tower repairs, and our high school HVAC project was completed. In athletics, we completed the tennis court project. It seems so long ago, but if you remember this time last year, we were just wondering if we'd have the team on the tennis court for the start of the season. Huddle cameras you heard about tonight. We replaced the warning track on the baseball fields, took care of the dugouts, took care of the pitching mounds, took care of replacing infield on the stadium field to bring it up to speed, and new equipment for our junior high teams. We overseeded and field rested some of our soccer fields and even the baseball field in the outfield, repaired the network cable in the stadium, did the athletic office repairs, took care of the athletic storage, and started the end of athletic season celebrations. We held 2 this year, and then of course partnered for the State Farm Player of the Week. For those of you who attend the board meetings, you've seen that we have revised numerous policies. We've reviewed the team and revised and developed administrative regulations, which we use on a regular basis. And just a few slides from our buildings. So if you all want to come up together, I'll give you the remote, and we'll hear a little bit, just a couple of things that highlights from the buildings.
Okay, so I will speak on behalf of the high school for the 24-25 school year accomplishments, just to name a few. First, I know we already talked about it a little bit, was the Kutztown University Early College Program. We had 4 students graduate from the program this past spring of 2025, 3 of which are continuing their college education at Kutztown University to pursue their degree in education. We do have 9 students enrolled in that program for this coming school year as well. Another accomplishment, the high school CTE program. This was year 2 of our agriculture program, brought in continued growth and success throughout the year. It was the 2nd annual Tractor Day, which was held on May 23rd, and included a lot of FFA activities, competitions, and awards for that group of students. We also had the implementation of our Cisco Network Academy, which was added during the 24-25 school year. Some of our recent 2025 graduates are interning with our IT department this summer and successfully completed some of their Cisco courses this past school year. So that's an accomplishment for us as well.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about middle school year accomplishments, and I am going to focus just in on one. I am so proud to highlight the return of the musical at the middle school with our music teacher, Andrew Santoro, at the helm as director. He coordinated a crew of teachers and parent volunteers who guided an inspiring cast of phenomenal students to 2 very brilliant sold-out shows. Mr. Santoro's passion is very contagious, and we look forward to another captivating musical in the 25-26 school year.
And last but certainly not least, the elementary school. You heard a lot about the Teacher Leadership Academy and our relationship here at Schuylkill Valley with Kutztown University. Our teachers that you see at the top and the bottom had an opportunity to present their work at a national conference, which was held in New Orleans this year. Of those 16 teachers, they earned their Pennsylvania Department of Education coaching endorsement, which you also heard of this evening. And then at that same conference, both Dr. O'Donnell and Dr. Norris were presented with an award. They were pleasantly surprised to receive it, and amongst the teachers there to receive them and applaud and celebrate all their accomplishments. We also celebrated them here at school with little videos from each student congratulating them on their graduation from Kutztown. The gardening club is off and running this school year. During each season, the students jumped right in, hands-on learning. In the fall, they harvested vegetables from the garden. They weeded and prepared the beds for the upcoming winter and then spring. During the winter, for the most part, they did a lot of crafting and preparing inside and planning inside. They transitioned in the spring some seedlings that they had growing in the classroom. Again, they prepared more weeding once the spring weather was upon us. As you can see, their happy faces. They were happy to visit a different type of classroom, if you will. Some of the vegetables that they harvested were of watermelon, zucchini, cucumbers, tomatoes. Some flowers were some marigolds, sunflowers. They were also able to take their learning beyond our property, and they attended the Farm City Day farm show complex, and they had plenty of stories to tell us when they got back. Moving on to kindergarten, our kindergarten teachers participated in a book study surrounding purposeful play, and as that title leads you to believe, students play, but it's purposeful, and the students reenact stories from which they have read with and without the teacher. They explore the key concepts. They are able to negotiate with their friends and speak. It enhances their social emotional development and their growth mindset. It continuously extended the learning that they received through the new curriculum, the art curriculum, with the constant reading. The teachers themselves also use the practical tools to inject in the play, and the classrooms then receive strategic, I wouldn't say tools, but toys. The students, they're tools in our mind, but they're toys for the students. As you can see, all those beautiful baby dolls getting dressed and the costumes, and some building up at the top left. It's amazing to just sit back and watch them play. A lot comes of the play. And then finally, certainly last but not least on this account as well, classroom cruisers. We secured some funding for 24 classroom cruisers, and you can see the young man on the apparatus, if you will. They're designed to, in part, assist with self-regulation, some attention, and energy management overall, and we are anxiously ready to roll that out this school year. And that's it for the elementary school.
Thank you. Thank you to all of the people that have been a part of this, our volunteers, our parents, our students, our teachers, the board, everybody who has helped us have a great year together, and we look forward to the upcoming year as well. And thank you for allowing us to present the rest of this to the board.
Thank you. Moving on to 2.0, reports of officers and board representatives. 2.1, president, myself. I just want to take the time to thank our faculty, staff, and our administration for everything that you guys have been working on. If you look at the sense of accomplishments, the little accomplishments and the large accomplishments, I think about where we were in some of the technology, where we were in some of with HR and even at the buildings and the curriculum. I told Mrs. Rexroad I'm probably most excited about the math curriculum because I am a math nerd, if you guys haven't figured that out by now. and looking at what that's going to do for our kids and hopefully get them to enjoy math. I'm really excited about that. One of the things that I'm excited that after 17 years or 20 years or 25 years, depending on who you talk to, we've actually have making some great strides with a field house. I mean, this field house has been talked about for decades about what we want to do. We secured some of our ESSER grants that we could hold over. We had a bond. So we're allowed to do a lot of things that we're doing, and the nicest thing is all is that it's being done at the moment with not having any tax increases, as we could restructure some of our finances plus what we had managed to secure and hold in place. And we're not really skimping out. It's not a Taj Mahal, as some people say, but it's a necessary requirement. If you sat back and you looked at some of the people who have come to our board meetings, have complained about the lack of practice space and everything else, we heard you. And we said, hey, it's about time that we worked on this. So we tried to get the input of staff. There's been multiple coaches meetings, interested parties. We've brought in the boosters in to look at the concession stand. Being a past booster president for 10 or 12 years and being in the concession stand for more years than I ever want to think about, I'm very envious of what we're going to hopefully, what I saw in the design, what we're going to have achieve, and what we're going to be able to get to our kids as the events that they show up. Having the pool, having kids gone through swimming and age group and everything else, having to gone through and getting the pool updated. If you looked at the decking and drains that didn't work and everything else, and a lot of nuances as we did that, of some contractor issues of driving on drains and having to redo stuff. It's been a challenge, but then you also look at our swimming program, with district champions, and we've all the way through some of the stuff at state level. You want to give a facility that allows these kids to achieve. And staying with that, again, one of the things that we really wanted to take a look at is we looked at the competitiveness of our coaching staff salaries. We looked at what was going on. We looked at splitting. At one point there was a process that was put in place by previous administrations or boards where they would split salaries, some of it not necessarily voluntold, as I will be told, as I understand, is that they were told, hey, we need to split your salary that you're entitled to with other people. So we took that strong initiative to say, hey, it's going to cost us more money, but we think our coaches deserve the money that they got. And we wanted not to have this issue with splitting salaries. If you need positions, you need to justify it all the way up through the administration, get it in on the budget. And so hearing that, I think it's important, again, to give our kids opportunities, not only in athletics, but if you look at what we've managed to do with our programs. We brought back the POP to a level that I like. We brought the middle school musicals back. We looked at the stage flooring to get that fixed. There's lots of little things that we've done. I'm also really proud. My niece was a former state chaplain for FFA. My brother-in-law was an advisor and started 2 programs up in the middle of the state. He attends like every FFA convention. And for us to have that, here we are in the middle of farm country and not having that, and our kids were going out to Topahakan. And now we have a program that I think is a very, very nice program. Mrs. Schlott, I give her all the credit that she saw a need and that we wanted to address and give that opportunities. There's more things to come with that. I'm excited about the drone program that we have and the kids to do that with the visual. People don't realize like the use of drones even on farms and everything else has really taken off with technology. So I just wanted to say, there's always things that you can look on to improve. You can always look at communications and say, what can you improve? But I also look at the accomplishments that have occurred, in the last few years. And I just wanted to say thank you to all involved. And that's all I have for my report. 2.2, Secretary Linda Lash.
I have no official report.
2.3, Berks County IU.
We don't have a July meeting, so my next report will be in August.
Okay. 2.4, Berks Career and Technology Center. Like Linda, we don't have an official report, but I'm the current treasurer of the board. So July is one of those months where you're hiring instructors and staff. So a lot of that's being done electronically. We are also in the midst of several major construction projects at BCTC. And so a lot of rehab and things to align our programs to where we have a need. Again, we are up to, I think, 2,100 kids are enrolled in the BCTC for this coming year, which is over by 300 from previous years. So they've looked to see how they could tweak and find the additional capacity from programs that had some weakness. And so a lot of exciting things going on at Berks Career and Technology Center. They've completed their second year of doing NASA. And so I would assume with the way everybody's been talking about it, is that we'll probably look to see what we can do for our third year. So that's all I have under 2.4. 2.5, Tax Collection Committee. Nikki
The
Cluffel.
committee met at the end of June. I wasn't available to meet, but I did get the reports. It was their mid-year reporting, and things look pretty comparable based on last year's numbers. Based on figures, the earned income tax distributions based on last year is up. Business privilege tax distribution is up. Local service tax distributions are up as well. Not by a whole lot, but some. The occupational assessment distributions are up smidge. Actually, no, they're down a smidge. And the per capita tax distributions are actually down quite a bit. And in good news, their delinquent EIT prosecution updates, those totals are down, because I know they were doing a lot of compliance letters, et cetera, trying to get notifications sent out to larger companies that were not in compliance. So those are being settled in a larger amount. So that is it for my report.
We don't have the per capita because we eliminated
Right,
that here.
correct.
And then the business privilege, I don't think we have per se. But
I
what's
think-
interesting is the compliance on the delinquency. That was a significant issue, and the board, because I was their representative a couple years ago, and the board took a very strong response to go after that. And so what people don't realize, failure to deposit earned income tax is not only a financial impact, it is a criminal impact. And so they got the DA of the county to take that situation serious, and had worked hard to collect a lot of the delinquent deposits that we were not receiving. And they actually went out on their electronic, and it's still they're tweaking some of it, but now everything online is for the Berksey earned income tax. Everything is online, and they've worked hard to get that done. So thank you, Nikki, for that. 2.6, Pennsylvania School Board Association Liaison, Linda Lash.
I do have some good news. The federal government is releasing some of the money that it held back from school districts across the country, and they are releasing now the title monies that they were withholding, and so that is good. There's still some money back, but hopefully that will be released before too long. And I can say the IU will be very grateful to get those monies that were affecting their budget in a big way for early childhood education and special education. So that is good news. And that's my report.
Thank you. 2.7, Schuylkill Valley Education Foundation.
I don't have an official report, but I do know that Dr. Tashner and Courtney Gray are going to be meeting this coming week with probably what's going to be going on for the next school year. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, 3.0, persons who wish to address the board. 3.1, guidelines to address. Anyone who wishes to address the board will have 3 minutes to state their questions or concerns. Please state your name and where you live. And if you have a written statement, the board would appreciate receiving a copy. We have 3 people signed up. First one is Carol Wien.
I've been trying to figure out the administrative positions from the meeting minutes for the past few years, and quite honestly, it's been confusing as to who is doing what and why. So we had the last position filled by Dr. Winters as the Youth Center Buildings and Grounds Safety Officer. Then Josh Keener took over the Youth Center position, but not the other 2 positions or duties. So now I see Dr. Winters is being moved to Assistant Superintendent. So what will his duties be? Because historically, the Assistant Superintendent position is in charge of curriculum and strategic planning, so is this going to be a different job description now? It's concerning that it shows up as an addendum on the agenda 1 week after the committee meeting, and this is a pretty significant position just to be thrown out there last minute. And it's never a good idea to start off with a 5-year contract. And we've had a shuffling of administrators, not only in the name of their position, but in their duties. Here's an idea that works well and makes sense. Have a plan of what the position of a specific administrator title needs to entail, then hire a person to do that specific job. Stop shuffling people and duties around. We have a person with a doctorate in education and he's been doing buildings and grounds duties. Perhaps you need to start asking why you were unable to fill the positions under this current administration, since we had several buildings and grounds directors already and none of them needed doctorates in education. And maybe start asking why we don't have the same principals or assistant principals in any of our schools since the superintendent was hired. I know the exodus of teachers is falling on deaf ears, so I guess I won't even bring that up again. Another item I'm questioning is the newly created position of mental health specialist. When it was stated at the committee meeting that the position would only handle a very small number of students, wouldn't it be a better use of funds if a position that handles a caseload of only a handful of students be an outside contracted position, and we invest that money in healthcare package, pension, etc., into a position that services a larger number of our IEP students? So if the caseload is 2 students, will this position continue? Doesn't it make more fiscally responsible sense to contract out services when we only have a small number of students needing that service? Now, I do want to point out this has nothing to do with the person filling the position, but the financial aspects of the position. So another item is Brian voted on the Act 93 contract last month, despite his wife being in that group. Whether the principal position is part of a group and allowed to be voted on, which it's still recommended that it be an abstention for the Ethics Act, or despite the fact he voted no on the contract, the fact of the matter is that when this issue was brought up months ago by the public, it was stated there would be no conflict of interest because he would abstain. To me and many others, this shows that what the board says is not followed through. There is nothing legally wrong with having a married couple
You're at your time.
as a school board member and principal, and the concern was resolved when it was stated publicly there would be an abstention. But when you lose the trust of the public when something as simple as making good on your word is ignored, Seriously, if you can't be trusted on simple little things,
Can,
you're not gonna be trusted on the big decisions.
can,
I'll
you,
finish. In closing, the lack of communication, the lack of trust, and the constant changes in staff administrators, and even the ever-changing organizational flowchart is a symptom of what's wrong within the district and what needs to change come December so we can get back to all the positives in our schools and greater community again. One more question.
no.
I do have a question about
You-
the band uniforms in the budget of pupil services certification. That was a little confusing.
Okay. I will address, because you always say that we shouldn't, as past president, that we were always instructed by our solicitor not necessarily to respond to the public, and you're politely asking their questions, because sometimes you get back and forth banter that's not always appreciated by the people. Not only are we looking at it, if you looked at the contracted services for mental health, one of the biggest concerns wasn't always the financial responsibility, is that those contracted services could not guarantee that the people that were interacting with our students would be the same for over a period of time. They could not guarantee their personnel would be the same one talking to us week after week, month after month, or whatever. And the board looked at a lot of different things, but also felt that the continuity of that service, especially when you're dealing with mental health, of trying to have somebody who is, on the ground and has interacted, exceeds a concern. Like, we're still very fiscally responsible, if you know me, but the concern is if you're gonna spend money, that you wanna make sure that the well-being of our students is also there. And again, we had asked the questions during some of the presentations, because we did look at outsourcing, and believe it or not, it's not as much as a savings as you would think with the PSERS rate and everything else. But the thing that I think put it over the edge, at least for me, was the issue that we could not get a guaranteed continuity of somebody interacting with one of our students this month and 2 months later going on, because we know in mental health there's an issue where somebody starts building a relationship or a trust with a counselor, and now that person goes, and now you have a setback and you have to rebuild. So I know you have that, so at least I wanted to give you asked the question, I'll give you that answer. That's fine. So next up is Lou Schucker.
Louis Schucker, Bern Township. Literacy serves as a foundation for formal education and overall human development. Literacy is the ability to read and write, and it empowers individuals to access information, engage the world, and pursue lifelong learning. But literacy is more than the ability to read and write. It's also about students learning to interpret, to react, to articulate, and to express their thoughts. As they say, if you can't read, you can't understand the question, and if you don't understand the question, how are you going to get the right answer? We rely on our schools to teach our children the skills necessary to become proficient readers. But with so many students and so little time, schools are often unable to provide our children with the skills necessary to become proficient readers. Schools need the assistance of students' first teachers, their parents, their families. However, too many families lack the skills, tools, or knowledge to support high-quality at-home reading experiences. But we know from many studies that family engagement is an essential ingredient to student improvement as well as school improvement. Teachers are experts in reading instruction. They know the strategies necessary to improve reading skills, but a classroom setting makes it difficult to individually support every child. Parents, on the other hand, are experts in their own children. They have the unique opportunity to support and reinforce classroom strategies by working with their children at home. Parents can and should be taught and learn to be at-home reading coaches and support their children with classroom reading strategies. Unfortunately, too many families lack the knowledge and skills necessary. Sharing family histories, monitoring learning disabilities, implementing reading strategy, reading plans, and even filing complaints when necessary. It would benefit not only the students, but also the school if they could be provided with necessary skills and strategies to become effective literacy coaches. We've heard a lot about a field house. The figures I've heard are $18 to $20 million. If we can spend that much money, I'm recommending that we dip into our pockets a little bit and hire or designate a specific person whose primary responsibility would be to develop the means to engage parents and provide them with the skills necessary to provide specific activities. It's a win-win situation for all, the students, the parents, and the school. And one last item, Dr. Tashner mentioned AI. It's hard to read the newspaper or watch television and not see a report on artificial intelligence. I'd be misspeaking if I said I understood how it works, but I think it's important. It looks like it's going to be the wave of the future, so we have to determine whether it's friend or foe, and if it's a friend, how we can best use it. Hopefully we'll hear some reports about that in the future.
Thank you, Lou. And I guess I'll continue my role of responding. So some of that, Lou, AI, actually at the BCTC, one of our instructors that we have, and they've been running shops for our information. I think also, I know it's BCTC, and I'm not sure if BCIU, Linda, if they done much with the AI? So it's been mostly at the BCTC that there's actually an instructor who's been recognized at the state level. And the biggest thing that you have with AI now is kids are using AI to write the reports and everything else, so that everybody here knows. There's also AI that will determine whether or not somebody is using AI to write the reports. So it's coming to the point of looking at AI to what they can, how do you teach? Because if you're teaching, you know, I hate to say the regurgitation process, or you just do that and you write a report, these kids are just writing that. Kids are also, you have to be careful, because people do not realize in the state of Pennsylvania, you are a two-party process for wiretapping. So you cannot just turn on a recorder and start recording your teacher's session. It's two-party here in Pennsylvania. Some states are only one. So what you're finding is that in some college environments, and there's been concern here, that but what I was going to say, Lou, is what they've done is that they found this AI. They'll actually create, cards and everything else to study guides for that, but you're actually then using that professor or that instructor's, intellectual property that in theory they can argue that it's copyrighted. So it is a long way to go. The problem is technology has gotten so far ahead of us than where we're at. The thing you cannot do is ignore it, and what you have to do is figure out how you're going to handle it. So again, the BCTC, the one instructor that we have has done different presentations. I think Dr. Tashner, did he do one for the superintendents?
No.
Okay, then there were things that they were working on to get into some of the school districts. So I just thought I'd tell you that it is both, AI is both friend and foe, and it's how you handle it, but you cannot, the genie's out of the bottle. The genie is out of the bottle, you have to figure it out. And people are using that for interview screening and everything else, and your chat bots and all that. So we have one.
David, I just want to respond to that. PSBA puts out quite a few articles on AI, and in their Pennsylvania journal that comes out to school board members, and the conference also puts out quite a few workshops for school board members to attend, and that's probably where I got most of my information about AI and the challenges that are used for the classroom. And so I'm sure that's not going to go away, and probably in October there'll be more of those kinds of workshops. So we could do that, I'm sure. In fact, the PSBA things that come across on our phones probably could just put that out there too. So, but yeah, it's just like safety, and the two major things that we deal with almost anymore at the conferences are safety and AI. So, yeah.
Okay, we have one more speaker tonight, Joe Brown.
Good evening, Joe Brown, Byrne Township. I came up to speak tonight because I was a little bit frustrated at the June meeting at the lack of movement to create the school resource officer position, and now the subsequent contracting to a private firm to potentially provide security to the school for the start of the school year. Last year at this time, we probably should have been in a position where they moved forward to create the position to begin with, let alone not doing it. And the only reason that it ever happened was the incident in September that led to the public outcry and the demand for that. But what's frustrating is even after that public meeting, there was, on the part of some of the in-board leadership, resistance to creating that position, and it slowly drug along. We got into the new year, and I remember sitting at a meeting when you, the board president, blamed the police union for the stalemate in this. The police union at that point had never been contacted. In fact, as of today, the police union has not been involved in any of the discussions to create the position. So the odds of this getting done are slim. I don't understand why it has taken almost 10 months for this to even get to where it is, and to only find out that there's no room for it, or no movement forward with the having the police officer in here, and now the fact that you're going to be using a private firm. What was interesting is you brought up on the mental health part about having the consistency of the same person coming in and in. What's the guarantee that this firm that's sending in an armed security guard is going to have continuity with having the same person in this school over and over, that the kids get to know that person, and that they're not going to just put whoever they have available that day to come in? I think that's troubling, that as a parent and as a taxpayer, we don't have any answers of how you're going to protect our students, our staff, and our teachers this coming school year. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm going to go 3 for 3. So first of all, Mr. Brown, probably maybe the union was not represented or contacted because who is in charge of the union? You should know this. It's the police commission, right? So the police commission would contact the union. And the contract with Berks, Northern Berks, does not have an SRO. So you had offered, to say, hey, we would help you with that. But we had worked with the new solicitor from the police commission that's joint between 3 entities. 2 of them are Schuylkill Valley. 1 of them is a Fleetwood entity, Fleetwood School District, to look at an SRO. So we looked at all the opportunities that we had to look at that. So I might be a little bit indignant that you say, hey, we don't care. We do care, and what I'm telling you, we looked at the best opportunity we have. If you get on the board, we can share more of what occurred, and that should put your mind at ease. But to, come after the integrity of the board and even myself, and that's fine. People are sometimes ignorant about what is going on, and we can't tell you certain things. So we tell you that, and you have to say, hey, are we doing the right thing? The answer is yes. We looked at opportunities. We looked at contracts. We have spent a lot of money. We have spent money. I won't say a lot of money, between the two solicitors trying to work out an agreement to have it local. The contract that we're looking at is a 1-year contract. So guess what? After a year, maybe something will settle up. You know, if you know Charles Kablowski, talk to him and say, Chuck, what happened? He can tell you, I can't. If he decides to tell you this, that's on him. But there's a lot of things that went back and forth, a lot of negotiations involving solicitors, back and forth, trying to iron out a contract. And I will also disagree that the only reason we're doing this is for the school safety. It's not only that, it's also a requirement, if you looked at school code, of saying that you have to do something. So we're looking at what's the right level to do. You know, do you do, school resource officer, school police officer? Do you hire a third-party contractor? You talk about the consistency. You would know that when you hire an individual, that individual will also get vacation and sick and everything else, so they're going to be out. So you also look at third party to get your coverage, so when they are out, what are you going to try to do? How do you negotiate that into a police force that's here, that's not overmanned, it's right-sized, to say, hey, you want to take 2 weeks vacation, you take your 2 weeks vacation, we want to have our kids covered. So that is another reason that you look for the flexibility of having a third-party contractor, to do all that. So again, people can come up here and make all sorts of statements based upon what they think is the truth, and I will, at least in the next few months, the board can chastise me later, is to address some of them and to say, hey, this is what it is. Again, to go back and forth, it's not there. But I would strongly suggest you reach out to Charles Kablowski if you know him. I think you do, right? I have no idea. Okay. I would reach out to him. He's a supervisor for Onalani Township. He's a law enforcement officer, and he's also on the police commission. Okay? So thank you. Moving forward, 4.0, 4.1 Solicitor's Report.
Yeah, just a few items briefly. The board will note that there are 2 agreements under Section 9, Buildings and Grounds, relating to the Memorandum of Understanding with Reitnauer, as well as a construction and drainage easement agreement and some related documents. I spent a lot of time last week and in the week before working closely with counsel for Reitnauer to get these agreements all with terms that we can all agree to and are comfortable with. So I just wanted to provide that update, that the versions that are for the board's approval are the ones that have been fully vetted and negotiated and agreed upon. And then just briefly to respond, I just want there to make sure there's no confusion among the board or the public about the Ethics Act requirement. While it is completely true that a board member must abstain from a vote if the vote would present a conflict of interest, there's an important exception. It's colloquially sometimes referred to as the class exception. The board may recall this from prior training that I've given, but essentially the best example I can give is, while a board member cannot vote to hire their daughter to work as a teacher, that board member can absolutely participate in a vote that would approve a collective bargaining agreement of which the teacher was a class member. So that's just a really important distinction to keep in mind with regard to the Ethics Act and what the legal obligations are regarding abstention from something that only relates to one particular individual versus something that covers a whole class of individuals, of which the board member's family member might be a party. Okay? That's it. Thank you.
Anything else for board under 4.0 or 4.2? Hearing none. 5.0, Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moll. I'll take a couple minutes while that gets put up, a few slides get put up, just to comment on some of the shifting of administration. The district has worked very hard to make sure that we staffed our classrooms. That was the first and foremost effort, was putting teachers in the classroom and making sure class sizes were lowered. And the second effort was absolutely on stabilizing the building. And I'm really proud to say that we've done that. We've had a team at the elementary school that has been there for several years now. We've had a team at the middle school that had been there for several years now. We appreciate the work that you are all doing. Mrs. Crater, who, other than a brief stint, rejoined us and working on that succession plan to allow her to be the principal at the high school, and to have Mrs. Rexroad, who has been here for some time, join us in the district office. And so we are pleased to see our technology department has been in place now for more than several years. Our HR department has been in place, and so it's good to see that stabilization through the district. That has been an effort, and we're seeing the benefits of that as you see on the slide tonight. I'll echo about the mental health specialist. As I said last time, this is for treatment, and it is for a small group of students that will be receiving that treatment. And it is important that it is a consistent person. There are many reasons that it benefits us to have that person be an employee of the district, for reasons of HIPAA and handling of student records, working with parents, being consistent, and being someone who's here in the community that knows our parents and knows our students. And we have worked hard to do that. The board heard presentations on outside firms, and I think in collecting and reviewing all of that information has taken, the district's taken the best course of actions in regards to our students and what's best for our students. Just a thank you. I know Mr. Sugar left, but just a thank you for always being willing to highlight what's happening in literacy. It is the gateway. Literacy is the gateway to a successful life, and so we appreciate him coming and also talking about that. AI, our teachers have had focus on that this year. The board adopted a policy on AI. We have been out ahead of it. We had one of the leading experts in AI, which was A.J. Giuliani, who was here, who also spoke in the county. He actually worked with our teachers, and part of that discussion was, what are the ways that this can help teachers with the work they're doing? And in terms of literacy, being able to take passages and to quickly put them at different reading levels has been something that has been very helpful for teachers and for differentiation of instruction. Of course, there are ways that I think people use many sources of technology for good or for bad. We look at social media, it can be great or it can be not so great. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that we use this in a way that is going to benefit our students and to be helpful to our teachers. So just a couple of highlights. If you would hit the, oh, I guess you gave it to me, from July. I want to take a moment to congratulate our coaches, and they'll be here with us hopefully in August, Coach T and Coach A. They were named BCIAA's 2025 Spring Girls Track and Field Coaches of the Year. You probably saw it out on our sign, and we're looking forward to having them here with us. But what a great honor for them. And if you know Coach A and Coach T, this is certainly not surprising. Great job to them, and congratulations. Back to school planning is in full gear. Books and materials for mathematics have been ordered and will be arriving. Science kits are ordered. English language arts materials are coming in. Class list schedules. I know this is the time of year where everybody's excited. They want to know who their teacher's going to be. Principals and assistant principals are putting the finishing touches on schedules and class lists and taking time to thoughtfully consider what that means for each student. And so we appreciate everyone's patience, but this is the time when we get ready to release them in the next week or so. Back to school night plans are in full swing. We've heard about them. It's sure to be an exciting way to welcome our students and families back to school. If you were at the elementary last year, I think you're going to see some of that same excitement at the middle school and at the high school as well. Someone was talking about the field house. The planning continues. Just a little snapshot here of the plans and what it currently looks like. And I think the athletic director has a copy of this in his office. Is that right, Mr. Hanson? You have the big board, so color version in there, but it is coming along. You can see here some additional plans that we're doing that show the courtyard that will be there and some of the seating on the exterior as people come out and can use the concession stand, how it relates to the track, and how that building wraps around the track. Also, this was just a note for the, as a part of this, was moving the track and field events. Coach A and Coach T came in when we talked about this with a rolled up set of plans, put it down and said, we want it here. And so our work with the architect went out, surveyed that area and said that's a great spot for it, and we're getting ready to start that movement to make sure that those field events get moved so that they're available and ready for our students when we get to track and field in the spring. And of course, that means moving that junior high softball field, and this is the proposed location of that junior high softball field, which will be sitting near the tennis courts with the high school varsity softball field. So things are moving along, and it's exciting to see that. The board was at the Planning Commission. Several of our board members were at the meeting the other night, and we're looking forward to keeping everybody informed as that project moves along. So thank you.
Moving on to policy, personnel, and public relations. Was there any other old or new business under superintendent? I was assuming no, since you turned off your mic. 6.0, policy, personnel, and public relations. We had a whole series of motions, Gesundheit, that we had moved forward without objection. I was going to consolidate 6.1 through 6.16. You okay?
6:15.
6.1 through 6.6.
Yeah.
6.
16 to discussion.
16 to discussion.
6.16.
6:15.
6.1 through 6.16.
16 is a discussion.
Oh, 16 is just a discussion, so it doesn't matter. Thank you for pointing that out. So 6.1 through 6.15. I'll entertain a motion.
So move Cleffel.
Second, Amaro.
Discussion.
I do have one thing on the new mental health specialist. This is a position that many school districts have had to come up with a solution to their mental health situations. And since 2020, it's been noted in many professional journals and workshops that I've attended that student mental health has become very debilitating for some children. And so to have someone that they can go to in the district, in my opinion, is a really good thing. And yes, it is a small number of children, because to qualify for this, you must be a Tier 3 student, which means that their mental health situation is pretty dire, and doesn't necessarily qualify them for going out to a special school or anything, but it's a situation that needs to be dealt with in-house. And because our local mental health facilities, people are swamped these days, and it's hard for parents to even get placed in one of those positions, it is now necessary for schools to provide these people. And I think the person that we're hiring has a knowledge of our kiddos, and a small population of students doesn't mean that this is going to be an easy job. It's still going to have some stressors in it, but I really do support this position. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Linda. Any other discussion on 6.1 through 6.15? Hearing none at this time, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We do have a discussion point, 616, discussion substitute teachers' rates of pay.
So at this time, I'd like to bring to the board a proposal to increase the substitute teacher rates of pay. Earlier this month, I did request a county-wide survey of the current rates in the districts across the county. We're currently situated at $160 a day. That's our base rate for substitute teachers. Then we also have an increased rate of pay for, so 160 is where we are currently. 170 is for 10 cumulative days or more. 180 is for 6 or more days in the same assignment. And then a few years ago, we did add the additional rate, which is the PSERS retired substitute rate, which that is currently situated at $195 a day. And looking at what's happening in the county, a preliminary recommendation would be to increase each one of those rates an additional $10. Based off of the survey data, that would place us at our minimum rate, would have us third in the county among all of the rates. So it's just open for discussion as far as if the board would like to entertain that recommendation or a different proposal.
Did you
for
get
those
most,
rates.
I just see here listed 7 other schools participating.
Correct.
Is that's all you managed to get back? Or I guess nobody wants to tell you what they're paying because they're afraid that somebody's going to want to pay more.
So,
It's like, what's the pricing?
Yeah, just a little background information. When we do these kinds of surveys, the IU actually does the survey for us and collects the data for all of the participating districts in the county. So these are the respondents to that IU survey.
Right. No, yeah, I knew it came from the VCIU. I just also know that some people are not going to provide that information because they don't want to get into a competitive situation of everybody's and, just one up you or whatever.
And I will say
It's tough for us, though, to try to manage, and you're trying to be fair to the individuals, and you want to offer a competitive rate, and when you don't know half of them. So I guess you're proposing this, so I guess you're thinking, hey, this $10, have we been having problems getting substitute teachers, or?
There's a substitute shortage across the United States.
Correct.
So we are not immune to that. I will say the efforts that we have taken to cooperate with the BCIU for their guest teacher program. We have our own in-house guest teacher program, and we have a lot to offer for substitutes here at Schuylkill Valley. We, have a great body of students, and we have a great body of teachers that will, bend over backwards to make sure that those substitutes are successful in the classroom. So those, very wonderful things about who we are at Schuylkill Valley help drive some of those substitutes to us to begin with. But continuing to monitor these rates and increase them from year to year is definitely a step to make sure that we are getting as many substitutes out of that general pool that we can.
When was the last time we raised this?
Last year.
Okay. And do we use a sub-agency now?
We do not. These are all in-house.
Okay. Is there a reason we don't use a sub-agency? I'm seeing, 5 out of these 7 are using a sub-agency.
It's a broader board decision that I think the board would have to discuss further.
I think certainly there are some pros and cons to it, but one of the things I think that draws people to our school is that we do hire our own substitutes. When we get into a sub-agency, we're really competing for all of the people that are in that pool. So if there are 4 districts using that same sub-agency, we're basically competing with those other schools as they go in, and they can pick which school they're going to be at for the day. So sometimes it's not as helpful as it might be.
Well, I guess my question is, how big is the pool? If the pool's shallow to begin with, how big of a pool are we pulling from if we're not using these other agencies? I understand they got to get spread across these other districts, but what does our pool look like then?
when you say our pool, how many people do we have? you
That's what I'm
mean,
saying,
or-
if we're not using an agency.
Correct.
We, how is this getting out to these other people if it's through the agency? Is it just coming, are they just essentially contacting the school? We have a list and we send it out? Like, what's it look like if we're not using an agency?
As far as actually filling the positions, the substituting positions?
How do
Yeah.
people know about
How
us?
do people
Yes.
know about us? So we do advertise for substitutes all year long. So we are continually hiring for substitutes. We use a bunch of different platforms to do that. The state agencies, we use our social media accounts, all of those different opportunities to connect with substitutes. One of the benefits of having substitutes in-house, especially for new graduates who this is what they want to be their profession, it gets them into potentially PSERS, the retirement system, right away, rather than having to go through an agency and not have that opportunity. But we hire new substitutes almost every month.
Robin, I saw that we hire our former teachers back. I
Correct.
see them coming across the
Correct.
thing all the time, so it seems like they like to participate as
They do.
retired teachers.
But we
so.
also get other retired teachers as well using that PSERS retired rate. So that particularly has been a great draw because we're not paying PSERS for those specific individuals, but it still allowed them to be connected to the educational process and try out different districts like us, for example, and continue their impact in education even as a retiree.
So you're just looking at some point for guidance for next month to go forward before
Correct.
we start the actual school year and the need for that?
Correct.
You're looking for guidance to have something on the agenda in August?
Correct.
Okay. I know we're a couple of board members short, so
Yes.
hopefully those will catch up to speed to see what's going on. And hopefully we can provide you some guidance. We should probably have this on the agenda for the August committee meeting again.
Correct.
With maybe, hopefully by then we'll get some guidance to you that we can actually have an actionable item.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for all that information.
Absolutely.
So moving on to 617, it's addendum employment for Dr. Winters, consistent with the Public School Code of 1949, and upon nomination of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of School Board Directors would hereby appoint Dr. Patrick Winters as Assistant Superintendent for a time period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2030. In approving this appointment, the Board of School Directors approves an employee contract with Dr. Winters with a starting salary of $165,000. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Cleffel.
Second.
O'Donnell.
Discussion. Hearing none, I know we've had a series of talks on this, and Dr. Winters has filled in, I won't say jack of all trades, because that would assume a master of none. That I appreciate all his efforts and what he has brought to our district. So hearing no other discussion, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 618, elimination of a position. The board is requested to consider and recommend approval of the elimination of the position of Chief Education and Operations Officer. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Lash.
Second.
Second, Cleffel.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion passes 7-0. 619, the organizational chart. So looking for a motion to approve the revised organizational chart.
So move, Cleffel.
Second, Lash.
Discussion? Mr. Bendigo, you might want to put your mic on mute. Except for we're going to vote here. Is there any, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote on 619. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Paul? I didn't hear it.
He left now, you insulted him.
Opposed? That motion passes 6-0. Sorry about that, Paul. 620, addendum, agricultural literacy advisor. The board is requested, he's back, requested to consider and recommend approval of an agricultural literacy advisor with a base stipend of $1,080 effective for the 25-26 school year. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Cluffel.
Second, Lash.
Discussion.
This is consistent with the SVEA collective bargaining agreement that allows the elementary school principal and also middle school administrators as well to take an after-school activities position that they'd like to add and to add it. And you saw some of the pictures that were happening with the gardening club this year, and that's what this position would entail.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Thank you for the clarification.
Is there someone interested? Do you have someone that, okay, just wanted to make sure that you have someone.
Thank you, Dr. Tashner. And that was my question, but I made the assumption that if we have the position, somebody's looking to fill it. So I got a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Paul? Nope. Okay. Any nays?
Aye.
There he is.
There he is. That motion passes 7-0. 621, addendum employment. Gustov. The board is requested to consider and approve the employment of Dr. Alina Gustov, music, PK to 12, long-term sub, teachers, master's, step 1, 61,455, effective with the start of the 25-26 school year through approximately January 30th, 2026, to fill the vacancy created by the leave of absence by Ms. Sarah Helpman. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Lash.
Second, Amaro.
Second, thank you. Discussion?
I would have to say this person sounds on paper like a really qualified person in music education. Well, in music, and I'm hoping her music education is as wonderful as her resume sounds. So I think we're lucky that we're going to have her for a period of time here.
Yes, the Master of Music and Piano Performance at the Juilliard School in New York is, I think, what some people were referencing, and the Bachelor of Music and Piano from Juilliard School. So, yes, a very accomplished person. We are excited to have the candidate with us.
Thank you very much. I agree. It's excited. I mean, excited for Mrs. Helpman to go out on leave for what she needed to do, but also excited for the opportunity of filling in. So I look forward for Sarah to come back with us, but also happy that we have a replacement in place. So hearing no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. (622) Addendum Harrison. The board is requesting to consider the approval of employment of Ms. Savannah Harrison, grades 4 to 8 teacher, master's plus 30, step 1, 61,455, effective with the start of the 25-26 school year, to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Nicholas Wojciechowski. Entertain a motion.
So move, Cluffel.
Second.
O'Donnell.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. I have two more addendums. 623, employment. The board is requesting consider an improvement of Mr. Niles Van Below, grades 4 to 8, social studies teacher, bachelor, step 7, 62,208, effective with the start of the 25-26 school year, created to fill the vacancy created by the transfer of Ms. Dana Hines. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
So moved, Amaral.
Second, Amaral, thank you.
Second, Cleffel.
Oh, okay, so it'll be Frank and then Nikki as second. Got that, Susie? Okay. Discussion? I wish Miss Dana Hines success in her new role, because I think we voted on that last month, or if not at this special meeting at the committee. So hearing no other discussion, I'll ask all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It passes 7-0. The last addendum, 624, Devo Par Consulting Contract. The board is requesting consider and recommend approval of a contract subject to review and approval of the solicitor with Devo Par Consulting for interim administrator services as needed for the 25-26 school year. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Lash.
Second,
Second, Cleffel.
discussion.
Can we just get an explanation of what this is, since this is an addendum?
Sure, this is in the event that we are using an interim for the middle school this year. This would allow us to look for that person and to secure someone for a portion of time or any other administrative positions or openings that we might have. We used PA principals in the past, so this is another third-party contractor for the same.
Thanks.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion passes 7-0. 625, any other old news or old or new business? Hearing none. 7-0, curriculum and technology. If I got it right, we can do 7-1 through 7-7 consolidated. I hear some nods, no objections. I'll entertain a motion for 7-1 through 7-7.
So moved.
Second. O'Donnell, Cleffel.
So O'Donnell and Cleffel. Discussion. I think it's nice to finally get some of these books out of here. And I think if people don't realize some of these books are significantly old, and they were just kept in storage, and now this will free up the storage space as we work through the new curriculum and finally getting curriculum more up to date. But some of these books have been long past their prime. I will ask Dr. Tashner at some point, maybe we can have somewhere the e-hall pass, how that works between the three buildings and the participation rate, like when they're using the e-hall passes. Maybe that's something, it might be because of security, that might be something that's to share in executive session, just to see how that works. That can be determined by yourself and or the solicitor. But I'd kind of like to see how e-hall passes is working between the three buildings, and do we have a high participation rate by all the teachers?
Just at the middle school and the high school, elementary school.
So it doesn't have it, okay. So then just those two, please. So that's not part of this motion, that's just for future. So I got a motion, I got a second for 7.1 through 7.7. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion's pass 7-0. We have one addendum. Conservation science for natural science. The board has recommended or requested to consider and recommend to approve a pilot online curriculum resource and the purchase of 50 conservation science workbooks and 1 online license for the high school natural science course. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Flash.
Second.
Second, Cleffel.
So discussion, if you can
Sure.
get us up to speed.
This came to us recently for a natural science course that teachers have been making materials for. We do have the discovery science materials that the board has already approved. This request came out of an effort to use some of our local resources around us for field trips, et cetera. And so we would ask to pilot this for 1 year to see the difference between this and what is available through the Discovery Education course.
Thank you very much. Any other discussions or questions from anybody?
I hope all the board members look at this because I found it very interesting. And I'd like to sit in on this class myself. It looks pretty good. I think the kids will really enjoy that, so.
I think there's actually a high niche out there for this type of education and careers actually in this field. So I appreciate the administration working to get this support for this class. So hearing none other discussion, I'll entertain a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Paul?
Yeah.
I heard a yes. Opposed, nay? It passes 7-0. 7-9, any other old or new business? Hearing none, moving on. 8-0, budget and finance. We have 3 items that we previously discussed, 8-1, 8-2, and 8-3. I'll entertain a motion to consolidate.
So moved, Cleffel.
Second. Thank you. Discussion. So under A2, this engagement letter is, what year, how many years have we now used Herbine and Company?
So this is going to be the third series. So this is from 2024 through 2026.
Okay. So it was basically a 3-year, but gets
Yeah.
approved every
So
year.
yes, each year we would have to approve for the next sequential years. So then next year we would then approve for the 26th year then as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. For the board, as you've heard me say before, is at some point, and I know Mrs. Wallace probably doesn't want me to say this, but I always look at, because what I do for a living is audit, and so what we always look at is at some point you starting to get a comfortability with your auditors, which is nice to have because you don't have to explain everything every year, but it also sometimes you get comfortability that they also don't always look as hard as they should be looking. And so in my tenure here, we've gone through several different audit firms just to, bring a fresh set of eyes in. So at some point, by no means saying Herbine and Company has done a poor job. I think they've done a great job and I appreciate their efforts. But I also say is that at some point from the board to look at a perspective to say, is that who you just want to continue using? Because at some point we've had some long-term relationships with auditors that many, many years ago that I think probably should have been looked at and changed. before. So just something as we look at that, I know you would do an RFP and everything else to set that up. But I would suggest, maybe after next year or whatever, do 4 years and just see what the interest is of the board to continue or to move. But anyway, I have a motion and a second for 8.1 through 8.3. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. It passes 7-0. 8.4, any other old or new business under budget and finance? Hearing none. 9.0, buildings and grounds. We have 3 things that we discussed, 9.1, 9.2, and 9.3. I would like to consolidate without objection. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Who's that?
O'Donnell.
That was O'Donnell.
Second, Cleffel.
Second, Cleffel. Sorry, I couldn't tell from that one. It almost sounded like a Dan. I'm sorry, Brian. And also just trying to help Susie out, trying to get our voices down. So I got a motion and a second discussion on the 9.1 through 9.3. Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0. We have a couple addendums, and I think this is what our solicitor was referring to. I'm going to take them separate, even though they're all talking about the same intersection per se, but it's also different parties. So 9.4 addendum, temporary construction easement, permanent drainage easement, deed in lieu of condemnation for right-of-way. That's 9.4. The board is requested to consider and recommend approval of the execution of a temporary construction easement, a permanent drainage easement, and a deed in lieu of condemnation for right-of-way and associated secretary's certificate related to construction improvements at the intersection of Onalani Drive and Lakeshore Drive. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Cleffel.
Second.
Second, Lash.
Thank you. Alicia, if you want to, I know it's here, but if you just want to, you maybe just talk in general. I know
Sure.
you talked about it in your solicitor's report.
Yep, no problem. So it's a few separate documents, but as mentioned, it all relates to the same project. The temporary construction easement and the permanent drainage easement have been combined into one document, which is similar to what we did just a few months ago for the other project. I proposed inserting language which addressed important topics from my perspective, such as insurance, workmanlike manner, clearances for anyone who will be on our property, not interrupting to the extent practicable any kind of activities for the district. And that was all acceptable. So that's combined in one document. The deed in lieu of condemnation for a right-of-way, that's pretty standard. It avoids having to pay realty transfer tax for the right-of-way. And then the secretary's certificate, that's basically just going to be something that says that at this meeting, the board voted and this was approved. My understanding is that's a PennDOT requirement. It's either PennDOT or the Commonwealth requires a secretary's certificate. So I know it's a little bit interesting and perhaps unique, but I looked at the documents and I don't have any objection to it. It basically is just memorializing what's going to be occurring, assuming the board approves this vote.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for your work. I know there was a lot of back and forth and different parties, and for everybody to understand, this is the, at Onalani and Lakeshore, this is with the construction that's across the street. We had to work on moving some, as it says, some of the drainage and everything around, and, PennDOT had to be involved, so luckily we got with PennDOT, or they did early on in the schedule, and we've been having a very amenable relationship, both with the Rittenhour and also with Onalani Township, and I'd like to continue that. So I just want to say thank you, Alicia, because I know there was a lot of trying to get everybody to agree is not always easy when you're dealing with solicitors, I hate to say. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote for 9-4. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. That motion passes 7-0. 9-5, addendum MOU with Rittenauer Real Estate LP. The board is requested to consider recommend approval of a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding with Rittenauer Real Estate LP relating to the compensation paid to the district associated with construction and improvements at the intersection of Onaloni Drive and Lakeshore Drive. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Amaral.
Second, Cleffel.
Thank you. Discussion.
Do you want me to just give a brief overview of this? So as the board can see, the memorandum of understanding itself is only a few pages long. It basically memorializes the fact that in exchange for the district granting those easement rights and that deed in lieu for the right-of-way, Rittenauer is going to pay the district $193,000 in connection with basically inconvenience, doing the construction work, et cetera. I know that that's an amount that the board was felt was fair and appropriate, and the memorandum of understanding is one that, again, I negotiated with council for Rittenauer last week. It was very amenable discussions. So the memorandum of itself is only a few pages, but all of the documents that are appended and are referenced as an exhibit are those same documents that the board just voted on approving.
And I just want to say a public thank you to Bud Rittenauer and his team. Has really worked hard with us to resolve this. We had a lot of concerns, as people remember, is that when they originally wanted to do that with the turning lane, because of the requirements from PennDOT, we would have lost trees not only to the right of the driveway, we would have lost trees to the left of the driveway. And they shortened their turning lane so that we would not lose those trees to the left, because we do have sports activity, as anybody coming in tonight would have seen. And those trees are, I don't know if they really did it on purpose, but they're fairly strategically placed so that you almost have to do like almost a 80-degree or 75-degree turn to get in between those trees. If you just veer off a little bit, you're going to hit a tree instead of coming onto fields that, you know, our front lawn that we use as a overflow, and youth sports is using it, I think, tonight for football. So I just again want to publicly say thank you to Bud Rittenauer and his team for working all this up to help us out so that we, you know, help us keep the best interest as our students. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor for 9-5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0. 9-6, any other old or new business under buildings and grounds? I think we do.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to give a few brief updates. First, starting with the flooring project. At the elementary school, on the second floor, B hallway, which is your third grade hallway, all the VCT has been laid down, so Cove Base will be next. The same is true in D hallway, which is the fourth grade hallway. All the VCT is down, Cove Base is coming next. And so C hallway will be the next hallway that they'll start laying VCT tile in. At the middle school, on the first floor, the cafeteria hallway has been sanded and ground, and so the next step there will be to seal the cracks and then put the actual polish and stain on. And the fifth grade hallway, they've just started the sanding and grinding, and the commons hallway, they have not started demo yet, but I expect that to start, or the commons area in front of the elevator and the choral room, I expect that to start any day now. Second floor, all of the hallways upstairs have been polished and stained except for 7th grade, and 7th grade is very close. The cracks are filled, they're ready to stain. That will be the next step in that process. We did learn on Friday that the Cove base for the middle school is running behind schedule in terms of shipment. It's anticipated to be here on the 21st of August. And so what I talked with the flooring company about is that it's about 3 to 4 days to install the Cove base once it comes in. And so I talked to them about having a crew come in second shift on Thursday and Friday of that week, and then Saturday, Sunday as well, to get it installed so that it's done by the 25th. And they agreed to do that. Hopefully, it'll come in sooner, but as of right now, that's what we're hearing. What likely accounted for it is that standard Cove base is 4 inches. When you remove carpet because you're slightly lower to the ground, you need your Cove base to be about a ½ an inch higher. And so since that's not a standard height, there's a little bit of delay in terms of arrival. That said, everything else will be, it'll be clean, it'll be finished, stained, polished, sealed, all of that. It'll just be missing the Cove base. So just wanted to share that. I know we have back to school nights coming up in the next several weeks in August, and just wanted to make sure that folks were aware of that. The other second item that I wanted to just give an update on very briefly is the D hallway in the high school, as we're navigating some issues related to that in order to keep those rooms cool right now. Just wanted you to know that I'm working with council on next steps to resolve that issue. And in the event that cooling is not as it needs to be for the start of school, there is a backup plan that we are already working through to make sure that we are ready in the event that we need to leverage that. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was just some of the preparations and planning for the back to school nights. We have the custodial teams prepared that if needed, they'll come in the weekend of August 8th and make sure that everything is clean and ready to go. That week of the 11th is a key week at the middle school. We've got locker orientation 3 days for 5th graders that week, and we've got 5th and 6th grade back to school night on the evening of the 14th. So we want to make sure that that is ready to go. And over the next couple of weeks, been in communication with our landscaping company, and they are going to be coming out all 3 buildings. They will do weeding in the beds that are in front of the buildings. The middle school, that includes the courtyard area in 5th grade, and they will also be doing fresh mulch. So you will see that completed here in the next couple of weeks in preparation for those back to school nights. So we're going to move as quickly as we can. We know staff want to be back in the buildings, and we want to get staff in them as fast as we can with the projects. Are there any questions?
As far as that Cove molding that's delayed, is all the molding through all the holes the same color, or is it changing up different colors through there?
So we did some variations. What we wanted to do is that we paid attention to the locker colors in particular and the wall colors that are in some of the different wings in the building. And there are some instances where we changed up the color a little bit. For example, there are 2 hallways where there is red lockers, and we found black Cove base that looks really nice, coupled with the gray floor and the red lockers. So in those hallways, we did red, or black, with the red. And so there's some variation. Off the top of my head, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 different Cove base throughout the building.
Was there an option, did you talk to the contractor as far as canceling that? I understand it's going to be delayed. If we change the colors, or is there a different color that might be stock if we go to a gray or brown? I don't know what the color would be. I didn't know if that was an option, or is it already past that point? It's already ordered and we can't get it changed. To speed that up.
I believe it has been ordered. I will verify that. That's not a specific question that I did ask, because we really wanted to try to design things in such a way and get colors that we thought would look good in the building.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know if we were all like super emotionally attached to whatever color you picked to this, so we can move from a gray to a lighter gray and get it in here in time.
Of course we are.
But I'll do some additional research. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else under 9.6? Hearing none, we'll move to 10O, Student Services and Activity. We've had a series of items that we previously discussed. Without objection, we'll do consolidate 10-1 through 10-13.
So move, Cluffel.
Second, Lash.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote for 10-1 through 10-13. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes 7-0. We have one addendum, or at least one addendum. Uh, 10-14, high school internship affiliation agreement with Reading Hospital. The board is requesting to consider and recommend approval of the affiliation agreement between the Reading Hospital, Schuylkill Valley School District for our 25-26 school year internship program. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Cluffel.
Second, O'Donnell.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Paul?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 10-15, other old or new business.
Just two things. The first was, we had a discussion last week on the prom venue, and is there any other direction that the board would like to give us with regard to the prom venue? Was one old business from Student Services.
I know, I was kind of intrigued by that warehouse place. I think we should follow up with that a little bit, see what they, I don't know if anybody got out to see that. I think other board members were talking about it. I don't know if anybody made it this week.
I don't know if Kelly did before she
I've seen, it's
went
nice. It's very nice.
overseas.
You've been there?
And I think the board had discussed if there was a deficit with looking at that possibility that there would be monies allotted to make this happen, to keep within budget for our seniors and juniors, just to look into the possibility of seeing if that was an option for them.
We will certainly do that. We'll send a team out, get some pictures, and then come back, give it to the board, and let you know what the cost is. And if the board wants to do that to make it more affordable, we'll take care of that before the next meeting.
Okay.
I just have a question. Do we put any money down as a deposit on the tent for next spring? Do we know?
I don't think so. And I think in their discussion, they said that they're penciled in, but that we have until March.
For the tent? I didn't.
We'll double check on that for you.
Just wondered. Thank you.
And the second item I had was, we talked a couple of months ago about the additional positions for the advising and extracurricular positions, and we just wanted to know if the board wanted those to move forward on to the August committee meeting, or how you would like us to handle that.
We might want to discuss those positions in executive session.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything else, or they go to the, or anything else, other business go to the order under 11?
I have one thing. Thursday, August 7th is the Connor Cluffel school supply distribution held at the Leesport Farmers Market from 6 to 7 p.m. Come early, things goes fast. So anyone is welcome. I do have the school supply list, and I have some beautiful pamphlets that were given to me for our lunch program. So please get the word out. I know it's been posted on our website. We might want to just do an update on that, just to review again next Thursday, August 7th, at the Leesport Farmers Market. And I do thank our administrators, because I've researched other school districts and they do not have their school supply list on their websites, and we do. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Any other business go to the order? Hearing none, 12:00. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Cleffel.
Second.
Amaral.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. We're adjourned.